Cousin, she's a bit.
So your seat's empty.
Cindy,
That's fine.
I just think I'm going to struggle, but that's fine.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jackie Simons and I will be chairing this meeting of the Waitai Community Board today. I'd like to advise you all that it is live streamed, and if you would like to stand and join us in the karakia, please. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina kina ke usa, kia mā taratara ki whai, he Yatakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhunga, he mori ora. Okay. Apologies from the Chair, Paul McMahon, for absence today. Do we have any? No, we're all here, are we not? Can I have a mover for that, please?
Happy to move.
And Greg seconds, so Kelly and Greg. Do we have any declarations of interest? I'd like to declare an interest in the urban forest planting for the power home.
Item is that, sorry?
That item is 12. Okay, Yanni, have you got a?
Sorry.
Yes, Alex.
Bus layout.
Or maybe bus layover for Alex. And so Yanni for item 12.
Okay, Alex, what's your item number, please?
Oh, good question.
That's number 9.
9.
Okay.
Just when we get to item 12, somebody else will have to review the chair.
Okay. Questions of interest. Right. Previous minutes. Any matters arising from them?
I'll move the accurate.
Okay, so it's I'm just going to move. Greg seconded. All those in favour?
Aye.
That's carried, thank you. Okay, we're moving on to public forum now. These are items of interest, 5 minutes on things that are not being heard today. So the Waitakere School, Burwood Road School Crossing, if you come to the table, please.
If you push the wee button right there, the microphone will come on. Yep, that one. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Greta and this is Ruby. We're from Waitakere School. We're both in Year 6 and proud members of our student council. Like many others at our school, we use the school crossing every day. We're here today because safety matters and every single one of us deserves to arrive at school safely. We're really grateful for the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. Our school is located on a busy main road. Every day, many drivers go over a 40k speed limit. Even when road patrollers are out, some don't slow down, some don't stop at all. It's a busy time of day, people are in a rush, students and drivers can get distracted. This puts tamariki, staff and family in danger. That's a problem we face every morning and afternoon. Our road patrol is run by trained student leaders and supervised by adults. There are signs and cones, but no physical features to actually slow cars down. With precedents continuing to grow, even more traffic passes our school. Drivers often are distracted with cars turning in and out, people are on phones, and bikes are on the road. Everyone has the right to get where they're going safely. Our school crossing hasn't changed in over 20 years. One of our teachers who used to attend Windsor School before it became Waitakere told us that in her 27 years of being here, there have been no real improvements to this crossing. This matters because traffic has changed, cars are more powerful, and there is more traffic now more than ever before. One day I was with my sister and another student. A big truck was coming, but instead of slowing down, it sped up, right through the school crossing. We were about to cross. I felt shocked. I thought they were supposed to stop. It wasn't the first time I've seen that happen. It's scary to think what could have happened if I didn't know what to do. I worry about the younger children in our school. What if they had stepped out? I don't even want to think about the outcome. Do you?
I certainly don't.
Unfortunately, things like this happen far too often. Teachers, parents, students, we all see it. It's time to make a big change. More than 50% of our school and whānau use this crossing. It has to be safer.
Between 7:30 and 9:30 in the morning, around 1,500 vehicles pass our school. Between 2:30 and 4 in the afternoon, around 850 more vehicles pass by. On the left is our school's traffic data, on the right is Waltham School's traffic data. Even though Waltham is on a less busy road, they already have raised crossings. Their traffic is slower, ours is faster, and just as busy, if not more. We deserve the same safety measures. We also surveyed our parents and students, and a large number they have either seen or experienced a near miss. Many are calling for a safer place for our community to cross.
We're asking for raised crossings on either side of our existing crossings. Whether we're cycling, walking or driving, everyone deserves a ride safely. Raised crossings will make drivers slow down before they reach the crossing. And it's not just about school. Their crossings would help keep safe on weekends too, for sports, church and community events in our home. This would improve safety, not just for our school, but for the wider community as well. Some benefits of raised crossings are:
They force drivers to slow down. They make the environment safer for tamariki and whānau.
they give road patrol students more confidence, they help prevent accidents,
They make things safer for all road users.
some people say raised crossings slow their trip or could damage their car. But the truth is, if drivers are going at the speed limit, there's no damage. An article in the press from April 1st, 2025 explains that although some drivers find raised crossings annoying, they are one of the most cost-effective ways to calm traffic. It also said that intersections with raised platforms showed big improvements. One dropped from 5 crashes a year to just 1 crash in 4 years. We know our crossing isn't an intersection, but this shows that raised platforms do make a difference.
One of the council's goals is to support active travel and safe movement across our city. By making this crossing safer, we're helping to achieve that goal. Thank you so much for your time and for caring about our community. We're proud to speak up for what's right. Let's work together to protect everyone at Waitakere and beyond. Ngā mihi nui. Thank you.
Kia ora.
Thank you very much.
There you are.
That was an excellent presentation. We have time for one question from Kelly.
Thank you very much, ladies. An excellent job. Great that you've got your principal of your school here as well. So just to be clear, what you'd like to see is a raised crossing with some speed humps to slow people down coming into those. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, on either side of it.
On either side, like down Innes Road at those schools there.
In Chisnellwood.
Yeah.
I guess it's a process question.
We just refer to staff.
For staff, just.
Okay, so we'll refer that to council staff to have a look at.
I'm sure Jacob.
And yeah, and you'll wait and see what happens. Excellent presentation. Thank you very much.
Well done. It's a lot of sense. Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Yes. Yes. Our next speaker is Danette Wellata. Is going to speak about whiteways. Thank you.
Kia ora.
So I'm Danette Wellata. I am a New Brighton resident and a senior leader and the General Secretary of Animal Justice Party. And I'm also Doug's mum. So Doug is here today because it directly impacts him. So just wanted you guys to make that connection. I submitted a pre-read, which I'll take as yeah, absolutely, including correspondence from the mayor.
Thank you.
And there are 3 main concerns that are outlined in that documentation. The first one is around pollution and the environment. So there's lots of research out there that shows the environmental impact of fireworks. They release lots of toxic chemicals in the United States on the 4th of July celebrations, they're actually moving away from using fireworks. Just from that one event, one night can cause significant impact. So it's crazy that we let off fireworks, and even crazier that we let them off in a beach environment, considering all of those chemicals straight into the ocean. And of course, all of the pollution, when we hold this event in New Brighton and it comes right down onto our beach, we are putting that litter and that pollution directly into our ocean. And some of that documentation that I sent was showing a little blue penguin, which they recently dissected. When it opened up his belly, it was filled with rubbish and plastic, and we are essentially holding this event in New Brighton and putting that plastic directly into our little blue penguins. Our native blackback gulls, I documented from those photos of eating that rubbish, and of course the beach is tidal, and you can see from the documentation from the mayor that you just can't mitigate the cleanup of that rubbish. The second impact is on companion animals. So Doug is absolutely petrified of the fireworks, and the emotional and physical harm just lasts for weeks and weeks and weeks, and for so many animals in this community as well. And that's, you know, fireworks across New Zealand. 90,000 people signed the petition to Animates, saying that we don't want fireworks anymore because it's just really awful. He's 11 years old, and yeah, it's pretty hard what we have to go through with him. And of course, the third point is the wildlife harm. So there's lots of amazing animals that live in our ocean below the sea. And of course, we are lucky in a coastal community to have all of our wildlife. So we have a kōtuku who's down in New Brighton at the moment. Hopefully everybody's been able to see him. He's magnificent. We've got our native shags, we've got our native ducks, and we also have all of our non-native birds. Some, yes, which are classified as pests, but that's like saying Doug doesn't have feelings because he's a rescue dog. We can put those labels on, but still a sentient being who still feels and still suffers. As I said, 90,000 Kiwis signed a petition, don't want fireworks. Animal groups, scientists, environmentalists have all documented harm. The evidence is overwhelming. The public is ready to change. Alternatives exist. So if you check out what Rotorua did for their Mataviki celebration, absolutely outstanding, just really beautiful. We wouldn't light fireworks or explosives in a wildlife sanctuary. And I'm sure you can imagine lots of other places that we would not let off fireworks. So why are we doing it at the beach? Leadership is needed. We know better. We must do better. So what I'm very interested in today is what role you can play as advocates for this beautiful community, and knowing that harm, what leadership is needed to stop an event that causes so much damage.
Okay, questions, Celeste?
Thank you for coming in. What's your thoughts? I'm not sure of the cost. I think there is quite difficult. There's a lot of detail that we don't have, but do you know in terms of the impact on environment and animals and things, drone shows? Because I know that some other areas have been looking at that. Like Canada. Do you have a view on that?
On the cost of...
Oh, sorry, not the cost, because we can get that information, but more the impact.
Yeah, so at the moment there isn't, so lights do impact birds and wildlife, but they tend to just keep them away. In fact, as a form of pest control, like green lasers, for example, are used for pest management. So they do deter animals, but they don't cause that same impact. They don't cause the death that obviously fireworks cause. In the research that I have done, I have not seen any research on drones causing any animal impact. There'd still be the noise consideration, but that noise is very different to the loud bang.
Okay, I'm sorry, we are at time. Your comments have been and feedback has been referred on to staff.
Okay.
I wish we could have more time for questions, but we're very tight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just get information on other options, because I do think it'll be interesting to get that information.
So this meeting, we can't request formal advice or response back from staff, but there has been several avenues and departments that have been engaged on this topic. Right.
So the reference to the additional information, is it in our agenda? I didn't see.
It's in the hub.
Okay.
I would just note that in that mayor email, it does say that the people who are doing the review are the people who set off the fireworks. So
We'll look at that too.
Sorry, just to be clear though, like, is the letter from the mayor and the photos gonna help?
It should be absolutely.
Okay, because I can't.
So there should be a
There's a text.
letter and there's attachment links within there.
Okay, moving on, we're now on to deputations. These are also only 5 minutes today because of our tight agenda. We cannot hear. Censor and town. Got it. There. Oh. Sausage. Right, just a second. Our first one up is for the Chelsea Street Renewal Centre. Theatre available?
Yeah.
Yes, please approach. You have
Yeah.
come to the table, 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, I live in the end of the sort of end of the Chelsea Street, so now I'm retired. And when I go to Eastgate Mall, and always I walk, very hard to use to drive, because it's no point to the Eastgate Mall, very closer. But these days, lots of people, they not follow the law, always over 30, and 100%, I'm positive. Then corner is Chelsea Street and Palmyra Street must be stopped. But people very hard to stop. I always just slow down, like a touch and go, then go, right? If sign stop with stop, completely stop, check the light and lift. Then go, right? Problem is, well, it's not curve and humps. It's very easy to get the license in here, right? Must be more strict to get the license. Right? People, they say should be okay. It's not should be okay, otherwise take off that sign. Take off sign. Just, take right and left, go. If not, no car coming, no come, should be all right, Mike. Like that. Right? So many people, especially early morning, people hurry to go to work. Right? Then I found out people, they do shortcut. When come from Alanui or New Brighton to go to Sumner or Woolston Way. They not go to Buckley's Road to turn right at the Linwood Avenue. Very smart. Shortcut. Shortcut is okay. But please follow the law. Yeah. It's not only Chelsea Street, everywhere. You can't say to police landlord, land transport, they not do much. That's the reason why we spend the money for from our tax. They're making a curb and humps, right? It's not necessary to make it, right? But unfortunately, it's easy to get the license. So police cannot do anything like that. And police, not many police, they're checking, right? So it should be okay. Yeah, but one day, you get the accident, right? And you got accident too late. Always slow down, but no, I can't say people's attitude. So we have to make it's big humps and more cars, more bigger one. Chelsea is too wide. Yeah. That it's not only Chelsea, it's everywhere. Yeah. I saw also Eastgate inside the mall, it's 10 kilometers, right? But never follow, right? Very scared to walk. Yeah. It's just I want to say, yeah, please make as soon as possible and a big curve and very big humps. Yeah, I saw recently, in the front of the Bromley School, they finish, lot of hump there. But too small, 20, more big bunts on humps. People, they slow down, they'll find out. Or if road is getting rough, right? So do not fix it. Why don't fix, if they complain to the city council, we not fix it, because we don't want to spend the money. Because two people too fast, they do not follow the law. That's the reason we're not making a fix the law like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are looking at that today, Senator. We're looking at the Chelsea Street, and we should be able to give an idea of how long that's going to take. But we are at time now, so
Yep.
thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, okay, thank you much.
very much.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown. Our next presenter is Diane Downward, also in relation to Chelsea Street. Thank you, Diane.
So I've written something and I'll table it because I thought it had 10 minutes. So I will shorten it a bit. I'm here on behalf of Anne Marie McCarthy, who is a resident of Chelsea Street, so I visit her. She couldn't come today because even though she's 70, she has to work to be able to pay the raise. And I'm just curious, how many here have actually physically visited Chelsea Street? Now, I know all of you can't. Okay, a couple did.
I'm one of those Aranui people who drive that way.
Drive it every week.
And I'm wondering if some people do that because they want to avoid the humps at Big Aldwin's Buckley. Anyway, it changes the name, but you know, at that intersection. So I think a lot of people try to avoid that intersection because of the speed humps. So something I was concerned about is that before the consultation on the 11th of November, 2024, it was decided at a community board meeting, that the residents and users of Chelsea Street would not receive the same level of increased amenity improvements provided by the preferred option. So in other words, it became a choice of either do nothing or the whole shebang. There was no, it was decided that they wouldn't have a partial renewal, you know, doing the essentials. And you know, when it comes to this preferred option, whose preferred option is it? Because it's not necessarily the residents, because they hadn't been consulted yet. So is it just somebody from the board, or is it somebody from traffic management who just looked at it through Google Maps? I don't know. I'm just asking that because the consultation about this happened after this decision was made. And, you know, if that's the decision, then fine, but then the consultation should have been, okay, you're gonna have everything or nothing. Which one do you want, you know? Because a lot of the people, because I read all the submissions and there's various viewpoints about the speed humps and things, because some people see speed humps, yeah, it slows traffic down, including the police, ambulance, and fire. And minutes can make the difference between life and death for these emergency vehicles. So yeah, it slows traffic down, which can be positive in some things, you know, for the school crossing and things. But when you're wanting a fire truck there and they have to slow down for 4 speed humps, 3, whatever, or they might have to start cutting through and use Cuba Street as a, you know, which is basically the mall parking lot to avoid the speed humps. So there's different sides to speed humps. So, anyway, like I said, I'll table this because I won't have time for all this. There is some bad behavior on the street, and that happens throughout the town. And to me, that is a policing matter. And if the police don't have cameras that they can identify and then prosecute the offenders, then maybe the community board should buy a few cameras, put them on people's, you know, they can place them on people's property if they're willing, identify and then prosecute the offenders of doing donuts and racing down the street, because otherwise you're just moving the problem to another part of the city. You're not actually stopping the problem of people with antisocial behavior. So, and to me also another thing, I don't ride a bicycle at the moment, but I have cycled. And wide streets to me are far safer because you don't have to ride your bike right next to a parked car who may open the door, not seeing you there. So if you're driving, so you can cycle more towards the middle of the road. It's a fairly quiet street, so Chelsea Street, maybe in the morning, in the evening, it's not as quiet, but you can cycle and then people can move out of your way. Like if I'm backing out of a driveway, then yeah, people can maneuver to avoid me. So let's see. Another main point is that the parking that's been removed. It's not an issue now, but this is also earmarked to have high density housing without off-street parking. So this will be a problem in the future, and you have to plan for this. You can't just like react to things. You have to plan because there's going to be all this, you know, parking for people, you know, in this high density housing. So everybody wants the curbs renewed. They want the pipes fixed, the, you know, the sewage, the wastewater, everything fixed, because there is going to be more high density housing in the area.
Yeah.
But it's just some of these other incidences, and who do I give the stewards table?
We'll take that, but thank you, Diane, we are at time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I thought I had 10 minutes.
Normally we would have 10 minutes, it's just there's quite a day that sort of to have everyone have a say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ma, come to the table, thank you. Ma's also going to speak on Chelsea Street.
Madam Chairperson, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I don't have too much to say other than simply put a face behind the submission that I made. Much of what I said is already been said actually by a previous speaker. Found out last minute about today's hearing, but what she says about the
Intensification.
Intensification. Honey, we were involved in that submission to the independent review a few years back, maybe 2016. But yeah, I think the staff suggestion that I mean what they said, but it wasn't forward looking in my view because of the increased intensification. I know on the plan there are some yellow lines in front of number 45 and number 43. At the moment, when we drive through Russell Street, it can get quite an awkward dance, one in, one out. Just after the yellow lines, people are parking there. And just on Russell Street, there's a new walkbook. I think
Yeah, there is.
Plan there now. So it's getting quite awkward to manoeuvre through there. So shrinking Chelsea Street, in my view, create the same issues. On Pamela Street, I see it's 9 metres as well, but I see the berms are twice the size. In my house is just after number 29 on Chelsea Street. But that's, I'll keep it short and simple. In terms of the speed humps, what was it? Went to primary school at Linwood Ave, went up and down, walked, biked to Linwood Ave Primary School. Wasn't really much of an issue. There are people that do speed, but not to the extent that it's Morehouse Ave or Fitzgerald, not to the point that it's a real big bugbear. As I say, I used to walk, I still do, I used to walk to Linwood Ave Primary as a kid. And in the 90s, we were worried about the characters walking through the alleyway through Jolly Street connecting to Chelsea Street, then the cars zooming up and down Cortinas or whatever. So that's all I have to say unless there's any questions from the board.
We have time, Greg.
So do you see that part of the issue is more enforcement and compliance than the actual layout of the street at the moment?
I think so. There was a suggestion before to change the turn on Chelsea Street onto Russell Street. There was a suggestion to give preference to the Russell Street people turning onto, but I think that wasn't pursued after
It's not set. We'll be, looking at all those things. Anyone else? Question? Okay, well, thank you, Mark. Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have Chrissy. Now, Chrissy is Christy Williams is going to speak to us about, and Malcolm, sorry, Malcolm, about the Opawaho River Network, urban forest planting.
Thank you. I'm sure you know both of us, and just like to mention that at our AGM in June, we acknowledged Quentin McDonald, who was our previous chair, and at that meeting that I was elected as the next year, so you'll probably see a little bit more of me over the next year or two. So thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today to support this planting plan. Firstly, we want to thank Toby and Josie and other staff for engaging with us throughout the process and responding so positively and fully to our comments. It felt like a true partnership. Toby also received a very positive reception when he was the guest speaker at our AGM. Secondly, we want to thank the Community Board for your support of the network and the work of the many volunteers. There's only a small proportion of the Opawaho that's in your board area, but it's still an important relationship for us. The work that you support is achieving positive environmental outcomes for the river and the city. And importantly, this work is strengthening community connection. So, as we've got 25 plus groups working along the river, and those connections within those groups are incredibly important. So to the planting plan, to us, the development of the plan was a great example of planning excellence. The plan is evidence-based, nice to see in these days. It aligns with existing plans and policies, the Mahanui Management Plan, and with the Christchurch District Plan, particularly recognised the Opawaho as a site of ecological significance. The whole of the river is a site of ecological significance, and the plan is a result of thinking of that significance. There was a robust process to analyse the river environment to identify constraints and opportunities, while the network's focus is on recognising cultural values in improving in-stream, riparian and terrestrial habitat. We do acknowledge other desired outcomes such as protection of floodwater conveyance and protection of the floodplain and of view line, sight lines and those kinds of things that have been considered. Today, your approval is sought for this plan. Without preempting your decision, we are hopeful there will be Community Board approval of the plan, which importantly means from now, each restoration project won't need its own approval, which is very time consuming for staff, for you and for our groups. With this, the network and our river groups will have certainty and direction on where, what and how to plant. The community partnership rangers will work with the groups to help them with this work and how the guidelines affect their planning. As identified in the Community Board report, we will continue to work with staff to further refine the guidance components. And for example, we will work with staff to get more detail for our groups on what significant biosecurity weeds there are that should be removed before planting is carried out. So it's crazy planting if we don't get rid of the weed species first. As a last point, because of the plan, staff are anticipating that new community groups will be set up to adopt some of the areas identified in the plan. We need to be assured that the council has the resources and people to support these groups, and that we know what expectation is on our network to help resource them. So that's our presentation today. Thank you. Enough to keep it for the 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to note that the work that has been done on the Opawaho has seen Kukiko return to Richardson Terrace, and that is a great joy to me. We also have more swans in that part of the river now, and that is also attributable to a lot of the work that you've done. Kelly.
Thanks, Chrissy. Just in terms of the local population along the river, what kind of feedback do you get from them about the plans that you've heard recently?
We haven't had feedback from the local population, other than one person who has complained about, the riverbank not being mowed.
This will solve that.
And one of the complaints that really was one of the things that instigated doing this plan was the people wanting to see the river, and they're concerned that the planting that was being done was going to restrict their views of the river. So the plan compromises that. So in that there's planting, but there's a lot of areas where there isn't planting, so that people can still walk along the river, they can see the water, but that we're still trying to improve the habitat and the riparian environment.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Oh, did you have a question, Janet? Yeah.
I was just interested, I know in the past, the river network has raised concern about the weed species growing in the river. And when I've walked along the river and seen, the impact of that, there's been some concern people have raised around the increased planting and increased maintenance and how we prioritise that as a city. Is there anything you think we should be considering in our resolutions around this plan that would give some comfort to ensuring that we have adequate levels of maintenance to address things as they arise, including what's going into the river?
We are about to eradicate one weed from the river entirely, which will involve quite a process starting in November. That's a difficult question. There are several weeds there, but eradicating them or getting rid of them to a degree that would make a big difference is very difficult now. It's too late.
I find it interesting because in the Otakaro, I think the in-river weed that you're probably most familiar with is the yellow flag iris, which is incredibly difficult to remove, and it's been made many attempts. You could spend millions and millions of dollars on that, Yanni. The two weeds that are quite new intrusions into the Kawaho are canary grass and the Lycaria that as part of this project that we're working to eliminate the Lycaria and to control the canary grass. And if you walk along the river, especially in the part that you're probably aware of, Yanni, more familiar with, is that it sort of looks like Raupo, is that very sort of dry. In winter, is that dry grass, but it's a very invasive weed. So my weed documents from 2002 don't even mention most of the weeds. So we're always getting new inclusions.
Thank you very much. We are at time.
Yeah, sure you are.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Just want to check, do we have John here to speak on Chelsea Street? No, that's fine.
It's 4.3, not on agenda 2.
No, they've withdrawn their speaking right request and will go to council.
Our last speaker then will be Anne Farrell, who's going to talk on the restrictions in Broad Park Road. Thank you.
A little person. That one, yeah.
Hi, seen you all before, and this is just an update on the Freedom Camping, the trial that's held on Broad Park Road. Firstly, thank you for taking our problem seriously. I'm happy to say that my husband's health is greatly improved. He's not now a heart attack sort of thing. We've had a few vans pull up and then drive away after reading the signs. Some of the vans seem to think that they can park there from 10 till 7. We would like to extend it to the cafe, but that's the rest to happen. And on the issue of making it permanent or not, I know that the biggest wish for New Brighton is to make it a great place to be and visit, and we feel the same. I know that some people that think that the campers bring in money, however, I beg to differ. The campers seem to sit in their vans all day, play cards, or chat to the people in the next van. We have noticed a big return of people to the park and the playground and the cafe. This Sunday, when it was only 6 degrees out, we had cars parked along there with kids in the park and that sort of thing, which to me is what it's all about. I remember it makes me think back to the camp, before the campers. Broad Park Road was always alive with families and social groups. I remember the scouting groups came and celebrated end of year functions. The families in summer had a fish and chip tea and a swim. In the heat of the summer, it would be nice once mum and dad got home from work, picnic in the park and a swim at the beach. I remember coming home from work and the street would be full of cars and families. Over the last few summers, there's no room for these, it's the vans. I know the noise is our issue, but by the time we go to bed, everyone's usually finished their picnics and they're all home. There's no issue with sound. I also feel the only people who benefit from these people would be probably the shops that sell provisions. So to sum up for us, the trial was a huge success and the Broad Park Road should no longer be a freedom camping on the freedom camping map, both for our health and sleep, but for the area in general.
Excellent.
Thanks everybody. It's just, I mean, I'm not in tears like I was last week.
Right. Okay. So I'm glad. I'm glad you think that was all.
That has been a really good result.
So, any questions? Yeah, just one from Celeste.
is coming in, and it's good to see that there's been a positive outcome. So from your perspective, in this case, you've found that putting in place parking restrictions has actually helped with some of the challenges with spread and camping.
It has. Occasionally you'll get one park inside, then a couple of extra ones will sort of like sheep, they'll follow and park as well. But on the whole, they've gone further down to the other end of the street. They've read the notice and then just gone away, which is, I mean, we sit there, go away, go away, go away, and they do. So,
That's good feedback as we look at wider challenges across the world.
Yes.
And how we can look at managing those through other means.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Excellent, thank you for coming in, Anne.
No worries, thank you.
Thanks.
That is the end of our public submissions today, but we're moving on now to item 7, Chelsea Street renewal. We've got some stuff, yeah. Welcome.
Hello, I'm Katie Smith, I'm project manager for the Chelsea Street renewal. And this is Jacob Bradbury, who's manager. Okay, I'll take the report as read. I'll just go through a few key points. In November 24, the community board approved the Chelsea Street craft project progress and approved the scheme design for consultation. We went out for consultation in March of this year. The main changes are the narrowing and the renewal of the carriageway between Russell and Powell Streets. It's a full road reconstruction with wider footpaths, new berms and landscaping suitable for residential street. There are build-outs and tactiles at intersections to improve pedestrian safety at the crossing points. Speed humps with build-outs, some of which have trees in them, to create an environment reflective of the 30k posted speed limit. This is a low speed neighbourhood area. There is also a speed hump on the approach to the Linwood Avenue intersection. The renewal of all remaining old dish channel, and there are some repairs planned for some existing flat dish channel. Overall, the outcomes propose to improve safety, livability, and encourage walking, cycling, and public transport use.
Questions? Yeah.
I think. Sorry, I'm right. We heard from some submitters concern around the impact of intensification. And I know we've got a Linwood regeneration plan, which the board was briefed on in November last year, but we don't have any progress on that. Are you able to just help us understand how we can make sure that the designs mitigate the impact of intensification that's occurring or that can occur in the future?
Sorry.
Did you share the?
I didn't get it till 3:30.
No, that's
Ready in a meeting.
That's fine.
I will do that first thing in the morning.
That's fine. Lynette sent out, that wasn't going. Lynette sent something through to Cindy, like I said, later this afternoon, so that's been shared. Yeah, it will be. Main points are Mark Stevenson's team has set a timeline for delivery of the Linwood regeneration plan. This to provide a roadmap for projects in the area and planned over the next LTP period. What's coming out to you is essentially a map that's got lots of the projects in the general area.
Cool. Yeah,
they all have different drivers. Sure. If we wanted to try and coordinate everything, we'd sort of have to stop everything we're doing at the moment and bring them all up to the same level. So
I think
you find quite a long
because I've got a lot of questions, but I know in the past that sometimes as a community board or a council, we've decided to hear submissions and then have some time where we can actually go and test various options with staff. So I'm just thinking, given the limited time that we've got today and the significance of, we've got a pretty split community around the feedback. If there's an opportunity to lie on the table and have a workshop around what's being proposed and look at what the regeneration impacts are as well. I mean, we've just got this now.
It's quite, I'm bringing that to the board at this point.
Well, I've since November asked for this work to happen, and I've been unable to get.
I'd like to focus on the actual project that's in front of us, and I understand that there may be some issues, but we'll come back to that. Alex.
Oh, no, sorry, I just wanted to clarify Yanni's point. Yanni, you asking that the motion is laid on the table.
Yeah, I think.
Could I ask staff, I'm assuming there are a few impacts by doing that. Would you be able to fill us in on the time constraints that there are?
Yes, there would be in actual construction. You know, if it is delayed, then we cannot start this project in the new year, so we need to have a new year in 2026. So that would delay that. We're also going to be working with the Three Waters, who are going to be replacing the sewer main ahead of us, but they will work with us, so.
Sorry.
There was also.
Sorry, I was going to answer that. Sorry, you remember there are ceiling seasons. So if we miss one, you may find that a 4-month delay is a year's delay. So you do have to bear that in mind.
Sorry, but I wasn't suggesting a 4-month delay. I was talking about a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but your couple of weeks can turn into a 4-month delay. That's what Jake was saying. It's like it's a couple of weeks before we get to a decision. But if we come out of that with a lot of changes to make, then it could be deferred by a lot longer. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we need time to work through the implications, write a report, bring that back to you. And I don't know how many more meetings there are this year.
We have one more on the 8th of September and it's full.
Okay, can I just ask from the board, who would like to see this sorted today, or who would like to go to a workshop to discuss this further? So who would like to go to a workshop? 3, 4, 5. Okay, I need some direction on this.
So, I mean, just from the advice that I can see from Lynette and Jacob, will be able to flesh this out a little bit more as well. And obviously, we've had lots of conversations around the Linwood Regeneration Project as well. So looking at Lynette's reply here, it's saying that the work and what Mark Stevenson's the head of the team looking at the Linwood Regeneration. So the projects that are from that will be planned over the next LT. So if you're looking to connect the projects that might fall within the Linwood region to Chelsea Street and potentially other projects, you're not looking at just a couple of week delay for a workshop. You'll be pushing it right through into the planning process for that.
Sorry, the annual plan resolution was that the staff would report back by July 2025 on a list of prioritisations for the Linwood area. So although I hear what you're saying, actually the annual plan was the time when this was raised. We have a formal council resolution to do that work. So I hear what you're saying, but I think there's 2 reasons for asking for the delay. One is that we've heard from some of us today who have raised a number of points that if we want to make amendments to the design, obviously we're going to need time to work that through with staff rather than try and, wordsmith today. And the second point is there was a number of concerns raised about the impact of intensification and also just things like even simple things like the impact of speed humps and displacing traffic, which we haven't got advice on. So
sure, start taking into account intensification.
What Chris is saying is that this is not due to come back as a finalised report until July. So if we're waiting to compare Chelsea Street with
So what you're talking about with the annual plan resolution, you've had a briefing since then in August 2025, which would have set out a little bit more detail around the Linwood region plan. So they're going for a planning phase, which will shift probably into starting more in the new term. So I think if you're looking, and this is where the staff of this report will be able to speak, I think you need to disconnect the idea of linking this to the Linwood Regeneration Project. And perhaps if you've got questions around how the responses to the submitters, those are different processes that you're looking.
Okay, could staff give an outline of the changes they've made in response to the submitters? Like what's changed physically on the plan based on the submitted feedback?
Okay, so when you look at the submitted feedback, as you mentioned, when you look at the submitted feedback, it was very much for, fairly evenly split between the two. For and against the speed humps and the narrowing the road, etc. Back in 2024, before we went out for consultation, there were 2 options put to the board to decide which one they wanted to go out for consultation. And it was this option that they wanted. The other option was to not narrow the path between Pamela and Russell Streets. So we've gone out for consultation on this particular proposal. There have been a few minor changes to the position of the speed humps, but generally it has stayed as it was, as I said, because the feedback is 7 people wanted speed humps, 7 people didn't want speed humps. But the speed humps actually create the environment to reflect the low speed neighbourhood.
Okay, so around that, we have a number of questions. So we're still looking at possibly taking it to a workshop. Right, so you're saying that you've moved speed humps, or you haven't moved speed humps from consultation? Because there's quite a few things that have come back in the consultation that I would have thought that you maybe would have looked at. One of them being the intersection of Russell Street and Chelsea Street, where it is narrowed, but it is an active bus route.
Right.
So it's like that is of concern. So I'm asking questions around that. There's also the matter of the left turn. I asked more questions around the school's request for a crossing, and I got the exact same that was in the report, but I still haven't had a traffic count for that. My question is, okay, it may not be suitable for a white painted pedestrian crossing, but is it possible to put a raised platform in there as a surrogate type of crossing to slow traffic down at that point? So I think there is still a lot of questions to be asked around that. Given that Yanni certainly has some questions, and it's not only about speed bumps, I have questions around that exit and the intersection at Russell Street. I certainly see that it's a lot of buses going through there. I think it's something that we do have to have more discussion about. Alex, what was your question?
No, I just don't, if you're opposed to the measures, that's fine. I just don't see the benefit for postponing unless it's to take into account feedback, like you just check this, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, also, what's the possibility around, if we're looking at different types of speed bumps? At the moment, we've got, the road speed bumps that we're all very familiar with, but there's other ones, like, in Tennyson Street and places like that. Is that an option that won't be as harsh in terms of the speed bump?
So with regards to the buses coming around the Russell Street, Chelsea Street intersection, tracking of 14-metre vehicle was done, and we worked with ACAN on that to make sure the buses could get round and that they could face the speed hump with their wheels in alignment before they did. And then we worked with them and they were happy with that. When you're looking at the crossing request by the intersection with Linwood Avenue, there is a speed hump just before that, which will slow traffic before it gets to that place where people can cross.
Most people in Linwood, because I actually live in Linwood and I use that intersection a great deal. As soon as they come off a speed bump, they accelerate. So, my concern is, yes, there might be a speed bump just prior to that intersection, but are they going to accelerate from that speed bump? I know that I use that intersection a lot. So there's quite often quite a few cars backed up. They actually stop in the intersection. These are things that perhaps we do need to talk about further. Jo?
Yeah, usually when we have a consultation about this, there's a wee bit of feedback about the loss of parking. Was there any feedback regarding that?
I put in.
You've got down here a disadvantage would be a loss of about 20 car parks, but was that in the consultation document and did people feedback about that?
People did feedback in fact that they were concerned about the intensification in the area and there not being sufficient on street parking.
Okay, but they didn't say anything about the loss of the parking by the looks of it.
So I'm just
going to keep Chris come in here.
I'll chip in there. Just so Lynette is watching.
Okay.
Just regarding the impact on intensification is mainly parking, but this plan has limited changes to the parking, so that might address what you're commenting. The other comment is if the board wishes to take this to a workshop, and I know Jacob said this already, it will not be built in this year. So just to give you that feedback. So Lynette will try and get here later, she said, but if speed humps are one of the sort of key concerns, they can be removed and staff can monitor and report back, assuming that's what that means.
Celeste?
Is there another way to address some of, Councillor Yates' concerns without delaying the plan? Because I think, you know, there's been quite a substantial amount of work. It's, you know, it's not perfect in some people's eyes, but it's potentially going to make quite a drastic improvement. So a year delay could be quite significant. I'm just wondering if there's another way we can address some of those questions that won't put a pause on the project. Perhaps asking for further information after this is delivered, because I think your concerns relate to the wider transport planning. And maybe we could look at the NAB report back on that.
I mean, my concerns also relates very specifically to the design, like the narrowing of streets, for example, like with the heavy vehicles, the buses, the lack of cycleway provision. You know, I don't think these are things that can just be added on to later once we approve it. It'll be done. But I don't accept that it needs to be delayed for a year. You know, I can't see any reason why the board couldn't call a special meeting to approve it. I mean, we just need to, if we put our minds to it, I can't see why it should take so long to.
I think so. You could call it workshop. It's not so much the workshop that's an issue. It's you're going to be asking staff to reinvestigate things and then bring that advice back. That's what will take the time, and that's what will.
And it won't be back until.
And you are, you know, you're right at the end of the term. So you could hold the workshop, but if you ask for specific change, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if you ask for specific changes to be investigated, it's that will take the time.
Sorry, can I add to that? Well, when you ask for specific changes, they can affect people's properties.
Yes.
You then have to go back
and reconsult.
Consultations after that, which then needs to be fed back in. So it's not going to happen overnight.
And the thing is, we can do the workshop. We can get the workshop done before the end of the term, but then when you're running the risk of, if we're coming back in January or February with a new plan, you've got a new board. And so everything can change again. We saw that with Marine Parade, it came back and it came back. So, you know, the ideal is to get it through today. If we can perhaps look at a couple of tweaks, maybe.
But I mean, we actually got a good outcome in the Marine Parade in the end, right? So, but it did take time. But yeah, I was just interested that we don't have a lot of time today either. It's the only concern.
Okay, so I'll just ask the board again, who would like to move this to the workshop and who would like to continue today? Who would like to go to the workshop? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that we'll have to do that. So we're going to
Sorry, it's the motion.
move a motion.
So if someone perhaps wants to move, I'm just watching. So, potential to lay the report on the table pending a workshop. But who do you want the workshop with? Board members.
Board members and council staff.
Board members and staff. That's what you want, Melanie?
Transport staff specifically?
Yeah.
It's not that.
Sure.
You want us to specify the staff?
Well, not
well,
name them, but is that what you're
no,
looking for? Or it's just an extension of this section? Or are you looking for, because the last thing we want to do is, if we can find a time for a workshop, that we don't have the right people to understand
So
what
I
you're
think we
Mm-hmm.
looking
need, so I'd like to get some more advice on the cycling and the flooding.
Right, well, can you put a motion, Yanni, to put this, allow this to go to a workshop then? Can you read it?
Sorry, I got to try to put this.
It would be really good if you can really specify what you're looking to address within that workshop, so it can be well planned.
So we're going to a workshop, and if you have any information or things, questions, you get them in before the workshop.
So Yanni, I've
Make
made
it
it
easy.
start up there in black. If you want me to make it bigger, I can, but with regards to specific details.
Yeah, so it's basically to discuss changes to the plan based on the submitters' feedback.
Changes to the plan.
Yeah, based on submitters' feedback. Specifically in regards to the narrowing of the intersections. The speed bumps. It's, yeah, and the widening of piles.
And I can't hear, sorry, one at a time. And the
Widening the path.
I'm maybe just.
widening of path.
Like I put that on, sorry, not there. Yeah, and the impacts of intensification.
We've had the amount of them.
Okay. And the cycling infrastructure as well.
Okay, so you're going to move that, yeah?
So, sorry, I missed that last bit. So you want to look at the impacts of intensification, is that part of the?
Yannick?
Because that's well beyond transport.
Yeah, I don't-
And into.
I'll just, no, leave that out if you want.
Yeah, take the intensification. It's not on that, okay, good. That's,
And just to be really clear as well, so you're,
And the school crossing, and the crossing.
and the crossing,
but you also want to take based on the submitters' feedback, but also the deputations today, I'm guessing as well.
I'll say, oh. Protection.
I've got a question.
yeah, as soon as we've
About
got
the
it.
motion.
All right. Are you sort of,
Is
Yes.
everybody, was Yanni happy
are
with
you happy
that?
with your motion, Yannick? Okay, what's your question, Alex?
Could you basically, just for anyone who hasn't read the report, I've read the report, explain the process of consultation that's been taken to date, why potentially some of the changes that Yanni might have wanted to see as a result of that feedback hasn't been done. And I guess my concern is that if we delay this for quite a while and then we come back and the changes that members won't sound feasible, and that's why it wasn't changed in advance of this board meeting anyway, we've just wasted a whole lot of time. So could you provide a bit more on that?
Alex, we've already decided to go to a workshop, Alex.
Well, no, we haven't voted on it.
So I might say that, in the consultation feedback, there were people who were asking for more traffic calming, as well as those who were asking for less. So it was weighing up the feedback that we had, and then also what we're trying to achieve as part of this project, which was to slow the traffic in this already posted 30k hour, so that the environment reflected the speed that we have. It was to make it more residential in nature. At the moment, it's a very wide street. Yes, you do have problems. It's 14 metres wide. People can speed down there. So we've got one section which is being narrowed to 9 metres, and the other section which has got the various build outs and speed humps to slow people as they go past more, where it is a sort of wider environment because you don't have buildings either side. So it was looking at both sides of those and weighing up what we were trying to achieve. And at the end of the day, the staff, we had a safety audit done, which we designed. We'll have to have another safety audit. So we didn't ignore what people said. We took into account that, but we took into account both sides of what was said, and looked at what we're trying to achieve in this area, and what the safety audit came back with as well, which supported this plan.
Thank you. Kelly?
No, I mean, so the only thing I would add is that it's essentially this craft project. It's come from the community board. You selected it. The objectives have been set by the community board, and we tried to achieve those. And we haven't quite hit the mark.
Yeah.
We'll go
Okay.
another go.
Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, it was started some time ago, so I'm just curious as to the weighting that we put on safety improvements, considering it's a 30k zone already, and the replacement of the carriageway, which I would have thought was the main priority in the project. Yeah, can you answer that?
So the carriageway is being renewed between Russell and Pamela Streets,
Yeah.
so we're widening it, we've got the berm, etc. So that's sort of like it's in two halves, isn't it? The other section, whereby we've got the mall car park, we don't have the budget in it to carry on that type of treatment down here. Plus, we don't know what's happening, with the mall in the future. So this is to achieve a similar sort of thing in that you narrow parts of the roadway to slow traffic with the speed humps. I mean, whether or not you keep the speed humps or not, the build outs will also slow the traffic to create a more residential environment.
Okay.
With us.
Well,
We've also got an awful lot of data on the condition of the assets down there. Off the top of my head, I haven't got those with me today, but we can bring that to the workshop.
Okay. Okay, Yanni, want to put your motion?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, do we have a seconder? Seconder, okay, all in favour, sorry,
Who seconded it?
Greg?
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to debate? Yes?
Go ahead.
Yanni?
Yeah, cool. Thank you. So yeah, look, I appreciate the work that staff have done on this. I think the frustration is that, like, from the first briefing we got, I raised, for example, the concern around how the cycling would connect into this, and there's just been nothing put into the plan. People made submissions on it. We've got in public excluded, we've got a route selection for a major cycleway network, which I've been trying for years to get released to the public, to the community, so that we can talk about these things in public. But what we know is that there is a major cycleway that will come down towards this area at some point in the near future, and yet we don't have any connection through to that on this plan. I think what's really important, and it's become a more recent habit of council in terms of how we do things, is that we used to have a practice of hearing submissions on things, having a hearings panel or hearing things, and then having some time between from when we heard from deputations to working through what the response was. Now what we have is people come direct to the meeting, make the deputations, and we have very little time to actually get plans changed based on what people have said. So I'm simply asking for an extension of a couple of weeks, a month, hopefully at the longest, to just work through some of the things we've heard today, get it incorporated into the feedback, into the plan, so that we can move forward with something that responds to what people have said. I don't accept that this should delay the project for a year. And again, the issue around things like intensification, we got briefed in November last year, and I've consistently been putting forward the case that we get dates for when that's coming back, and I'm told it's coming back and it's coming back, and it just never seems to happen. So, people can sit here and try and, say that I want to delay it. No, I've actually been trying to get things done ahead of the decision today, which has been incredibly frustrating to not get that information back in time where it could have been looked at in terms of connecting into the cycleways and things in terms of looking at the intensification impact. Because we know in Linwood, there's a massive amount of intensification that's happening. It's having an impact on car parking, on flooding, on streetscapes. We had a deputation request today that got rejected on Rutherford Street because there's been so much infill development that people can no longer safely get in and out of their apartments or their houses. So we do need to take these things into account. I'm just asking for a little bit more time to do that. I hope we can get the workshop done ASAP and then get a decision so we can get to construction.
Thank you, Yanni. Anyone else want to speak with Yanni? Okay, over to you, Alex.
Yeah, I think I've got a few concerns about effectively what's dragging us along. And I just wanted to start by saying not keeping staff right is a little bit tricky because we're not traffic engineers. When staff say something's going to be delayed, I think we should take them for their word that it's going to be delayed. This has been in the works for quite a long time, and with every project there's never going to be 100% happiness. Our job as elected members is to make the hard calls. People vote for us to do that. Quite often we hear making decisions and elected members across the table talking about how important it is for councils and the units to do things aligned with one another. And when you do this type of work, why can't we do this work at the same time? This project and the current plan does that. By postponing it, you're separating those bits of work. By linking it into the deputations, whilst I acknowledge quite a lot of good feedback there, quite a lot's out of scope. Council buying a police camera isn't in scope. So I'm trying to understand what part of the deputations that you're trying to change with the plan that hasn't already been discussed and raised by staff. If you don't like the plan, you don't like the plan. But by delaying it when staff have answered almost all of the questions, just seems a bit disappointing from my perspective. So I'm going to no to delay.
Okay, does anyone else want to speak for or against? Okay, I'll put the motion, all in favour. Sorry?
Yanni's.
Yes,
Yanni's Chelsea Street. So all those in favour of Yanni's motion to delay this and have a workshop on Chelsea Street, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's carried. Okay, so we'll come back to a workshop. Okay, moving on. Next item is number 8.
I'll second it.
Okay, grant of the electricity easement over Linwood Park. We've got Kelly has moved and Tim has seconded. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye, sweet. Ah, bus layover.
Thanks, Stuart. You can leave the meeting now.
Okay, item number 9, bus layover, bus routes 5 and 135 to New Brighton. Do we have staff for this? Hello.
Can I foreshadow my amendment?
Foreshadow the amendment.
Sure. Which one? I've had 3 emails. The most recent one?
Most recent, I think. It might need a bit of tweaking, but.
Right.
You get the gist.
Let staff do their thing and then we'll pull it up after.
Okay.
Kia ora, County Board. My name is Mansoor. I'm serving as passenger transport engineer for CCC. And next to me is Sam. He's operational delivery lead for Environment Canterbury. Would County Board like us provide a brief into the report, or you want to take the report as written and we go to the questions?
Okay, we can take it as read. We have questions. Yanni?
Council used to have a plan to build a suburban bus interchange in New Brighton. Do you know what's happened? Do we have a suburban passenger, like a metro plan for where we put suburban facilities anymore? Or is that just gone?
I think in the New Brighton, we had a master plan, which was released in 2015, and we had a piece of land was assigned for a bus interchange, I think. But this is the new apartments. Right, it's across the road at the moment. Okay.
Yes, we would check.
We don't have it anymore.
Okay, Celeste?
I know that my understanding is the Christchurch Strategic Transport Plan talks about, planning ahead for that bus interchange. Is there any work being done on that? So looking at the long-term vision for the area, we're going through the master plan process at the moment. So part of that, we're seeing a lot of housing coming in, but also the malls redeveloping. So making sure that we've got a fit for purpose bus interchange that is sort of formalising it. Temporary one is one step, but the next step after that, of course, is having something that will be fit for purpose in the long term, which is what was set out in the master plan. So it's really just a repeat of the same question, but have we looked at any other scenarios where there are other sites that we're exploring outside of RMF? I know you've looked at it as part of this, but I mean like purchasing land or stuff.
Not on that scope, like going further than operational quick moves, because there are those sort of like options need the budget, which is out of the scope of the traffic operations. It needs a planning and like assigning the budget for that. So it normally needs to be like investigated by other teams at the council. I have been like in contact with the program new extension project, asking for feedback, and also with the asset planning team. But at the moment, like we haven't like investigated, like asked them to investigate it not properly about like options like purchasing extra land. And obviously also need we can also do consider if like any planning.
So effectively, this is still somewhat of an interim approach.
Yes.
And it hasn't potentially looked at the wider sort of plan because we just don't have we haven't sort of moved that option yet. So it's kind of been parked.
Yes, effectively. And also in the report, both organization has agreed that the long list of the options that have been reviewed and wasn't being practical means that New Brighton have changed, and we need to essentially have the bus route number 5 to terminus somewhere else, maybe in a lower dense area. And like Ilkan has confirmed that they will consider this in the business case, so they are strategy. And so meanwhile, we can like formalize the current bus layover until that being investigation is done. Going through the options, I should also mention that our option, the CCC preferred option was the one on the Marine Park, just next to the south ramp. But this one was not supported by ECAN due to the reasons that the sound can explain. So that's why we take this approach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Joe? Yeah, in the report you mentioned about electric buses in the future. Do they cause as much vibration and noise as normal buses? I take it they don't.
In terms of vibration, pretty much similar, if not more, some of them, because they weigh more.
Okay.
But obviously the noise is pretty much zero. And some will say that there is a low pitch hum that you might hear from them, but there's certainly, compared to a diesel bus, they're virtually silent.
So how would that affect residents? Would it be a lesser effect than a diesel bus?
Absolutely.
Okay. And is there any idea when you'd actually change over to electric buses out this way?
There are a lot more buses, electric buses already in use. One of the sections in the report did actually have those figures. So just in the last, in the last year or so, there's been a significant increase between March last year and March this year, from 6% to 18% in terms of electric bus use, and that's only going to increase. It's not going to go backwards.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah.
Just in terms of like infrastructure and nearby amenity, is there currently any sort of things like toilets and things for the drivers when they're sort of on site?
Not at the moment for the layover, the current layover on the Orang Ave, there's not. And I think it was reflected also in the consultations that we did.
Yeah.
The options on the Marine Park does include break facility for drivers. Now, one more point to add is about the U-turns, which we don't recommend having the buses to do the U-turn as they are doing at the moment over the Orang section of the street. And the Marine Park option also remove that is there now.
So you're saying that the alternative option has amenities, it has toilets.
Yeah.
You don't have to do U-turns, and also there's less safety and maintenance issues.
That's, yeah. And we also expect that likely less residents will be happy.
I see. Thank you.
Alex?
I'm not voting to do a conflict, but I just wanted to know, did you have any more, or could you elaborate a bit more on the Oromel extension and what the project's team stance was on the layover? Did they have an opinion on having it on Oromel versus say Marine Parade?
No, I think the one in the Oromel is sort of like out of the scope of that project.
Yeah.
And from the like trust is also sort of there were some discussions to like consider sort of layover within that commercial center, but like from safety point of view, we do not recommend also that one to have. If it was like just a normal bus stop for pick-up and drop-off, it was like doable, but as it's a layover, don't recommend that.
Okay. That's one. Joe, just one more. Joe? Yeah. Yeah, so with the existing stock, do you actually need to formalise it, or we can just carry on as is?
We can also carry on as is. Yeah.
So,
and then
you don't need to spend money. Cool, thank you. Okay, thanks, you, Celeste. You had to.
So will that just be put on the screen, the alternative, like that? Oh, cool.
Okay.
So if I come through the chair.
Yes, Chris.
Just so obviously I've had a read of this and Lynette's had a read as well. So what you're directing there is probably a bit beyond what the board can do today. So you can't instruct staff to start consultation. You don't have to advise to go and do it. No, so I think what you'd want to do I need a minute to reframe it, but essentially all you can do is ask for advice at this stage. And especially sort of, because you're jumping ahead to consulting and bringing a decision back, you don't know if that's even possible within that time frame, and you don't know, you don't know quite, what you're looking for. So I think it needs to be simplified quite a bit. One option that you could potentially have, and it's up to the board to consider, is carry on with the interim option. So that's why that's put up there at the moment. And then add another number to that to say, request staff to provide advice on, and some more. But that provided you're happy with the interim solution that staff have recommended. So just
So my preference is to, they do suggest it, simplify it, so that's good. But also I think that it's important that we, before we make a decision on the interim option, which is formalising it and kind of setting it as sort of, because that actually reinforces the status quo a little bit. Actually get the advice back before we formalise it. So I would still like the intent of this is actually to get further advice.
Okay.
So
Option 3.
for option 3, but we're getting a strategic transport assessment back, which is looking at the parking, the public transport, everything. It's coming back to the board. I think that should be part of the conversation here, because rather than looking at an interim solution, which is this effectively is, we should be progressing the longer term plan. And I think we can do that alongside ECAN, but this actually puts a bit more weight behind that objective, because at the moment we're not making any progress on that, and I think we need to speed that up. So that would be my preference.
So I think the implementation plan for that wider strategy is coming back to council, but not until after the election. If I'm
You're talking
reading
about the
this right.
strategic transport.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So are you talking about something different?
Oh, no, if that's coming to council, that's fine, but I think that information will help us inform decision, but we still need further information on other options.
So then again, through the chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. So up to the board as an option then, so that you don't completely remove the interim as an option, you could lay that on the table, request staff provide advice on, but you just have to bear in mind that that might take some time to come back. And similar to the other one that you were discussing, that advice probably won't come back until after the election. So
that's fine. Yeah, so lay it on the table would be an option, and then request staff come back with the advice.
Okay, so we need to actually have some amendment.
that's just a motion, so it
Just
doesn't
a
have to be
motion?
an amendment. So if
Okay,
I was going to say, do we need to actually move one first and then put that on the table afterwards?
no, we have to move that as, we have to move a motion to put it on the table before we can do anything further. So, is that what you want?
Pretty much, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so word the motion.
So is this the second part?
But the Waitai Coast, it's on along the bottom.
I'm just typing it as we
Yeah,
go.
along the bottom.
Until,
well, no, just maybe lay the table and request staff. Yeah, and then basically what you've got above. And
all of this, or,
I would probably keep it simpler,
okay.
but I don't want to put words into it.
Solution for the proprietor.
But are the bus routes that come into New Brighton as well?
Or just,
Don't we have other bus routes that come into New Brighton as well that we could tie into a single point?
Potentially, and I guess the super stop them and ask to do that, I don't know.
The only other one's Route 60, which passes through, it does not terminate.
Oh, okay.
But I understand that ECAN's looking at doing a route uplift for number 5, is that right? Increasing the frequency?
Yes.
Yeah.
okay, so that's
so
the motion.
This one here. The last.
So including marine parade, I just want to make sure that that's captured. I think Hawke Street and the other options repurchasing land, because I think it might be necessary.
Okay, All right.
Sorry, provide advice, layer of the solution. It just needs to advice on to purchase or repurpose land needs to be captured, I think, but we have to consider that that might need to be part of the plan.
So up until here, so you want me
Yeah.
just to cut this bit
I
out?
think so, yeah. Is that
Okay. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Do we have a seconder?
Possible.
Okay, Kelly. All right, so we'll go to debate. Any debate on this? All right.
We're able to ask questions or?
Yeah, we'll debate, yeah. You want to ask questions of who?
Well, it's just around the strategic transport plan, which I support, which is fine. Do we have we got any visibility of that as a community? That's the first
Can we do this first?
Oh, okay. So I thought we were waiting for the strategic transport assessment to come back.
No. All right, so we'll put the motion. Because no one's come up again. Put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's tabled. Thank you.
I'm just hearing it.
And can we note? That's, you've done that. Okay.
Alex, it will be
Alex,
included tomorrow.
Okay, item number 10, bus stop upgrades on Estuary Road and Bridge Street. We take it as read. Right. We have questions? Yeah. Questions? Yes. Go.
Okay, so with this transferring from one side of the road to the other, who were the requests from and how many did you get?
I think it at least 3 or 4 come to request. And it also happened either directly to the passenger engineer and also during the consultation for other projects. I think there was an intersection of great projects, so people like feedbacks that these bus stops creating issue. I think there was multiple requests from the company that we received either directly or through the consultation for other projects.
Okay, and the position that you're looking at changing it to kind of on the other side of the road, have you thought about that at the moment there's that empty section where there used to be shops? If there were to be shops there again on that section and someone wants to develop that, how would the bus stop being outside the affect them?
Well, we have consulted with both the owners and the current residents. And we only have received one from the owner of 85, which is like you mentioned in the report. I think even from that perspective, this is mainly a boarding drop-off bus stop show. But we also have it as a driver changeover. So yeah, I think the only thing that we can say we can consider is that the results from the consultation with the owners, we haven't received any like concern.
So there wasn't actually consultation about this changeover, was there? It was just the initial consultation set?
No, we did consultation,
did on
yes,
that one?
and we haven't received, we just received from the owner of number 85.
Okay, so what's the concern from the Bridge Hub regarding that?
You mean the number 97?
With the initial bus stop being outside the Bridge Hub in the Gym Cafe, did they have any input into that?
Not into the new bus.
Okay.
And Celeste?
Just to clarify, because I recall this coming through and there's a bit of feedback from the residents where this bus stop is currently.
Yes.
Because it's quite, the challenge is they've developed the Bridge Hub and right in front of it is a bus stop and you've got a driveway. So there's actually quite a lot of conflict. And then if you come around the roundabout, you hit the bus. You hopefully don't hit the bus, but it's creating a bit of a hazard. So the proposal was to move it across to an area where the school bus is currently parking. Is that correct?
Well, the initial was to transfer it to outside 111 Street, but it's still like blocking the driveway. And we deferred for further investigation. And we also have a school bus route that using that stop. And that the school route turning from Bridge Street onto Street Road. But we found a new, like an existing bus stop on the Bridge Street, but that one can be by the school route. So we then don't have any problems relocating these bus stops to the other side of the road, which like tackle those problems, blocking the driveway or like blocking the road, because at the moment the current bus stop, when the bus stops, it when it blocks the driveway, it also causes the passengers to like drop off over a vehicle crossing, which is difficult for elderly people or kids. And so some bus drivers try to stop before that driveway, so which means even closer to the roundabout, which causes conflict with the vehicles that try to exit the roundabout.
So this is just a clear space, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Greg?
On Issue Road, on the south side of the roundabout, on the northbound lane, there's removal of parking on the left-hand side. Can you explain why that parking is removed? As you're heading south on Issue Road on the other side, in front of where the bus stop proposed, there's still nothing left there.
So just to, where the new bus stop's going.
So there's parking left in front of where the new bus stop is going. Yet on the opposite corner, as you're heading north on that road, there's parking's been removed. Can you explain why there's removed on one place but kept in the other? So there's parking kept here, but on the other one, it's removed.
Oh, so this one, we are not removing, it's already been done with the intersection upgrades that we've done.
Okay.
Yeah, so as you see, there is another call out item that's proposed for this report.
I'd like to move this recommendation.
Yeah, Joe, did you have another question?
You just, oh,
Do you second it, so?
yeah, sorry.
There's too
It's
many
not going.
microphones on, so.
Oh, okay. Because this was coming up, I went and sat there the other day and had a look at the buses coming in and out and how it affects the roundabout and the exit. And I actually didn't see too much of an issue, because when the bus stops, it only stops for less than a minute, probably only seconds, and then it takes off again. And it's just a matter of like the drivers being patient and curious, because they're going slower in that corner. So I just can't see the reasoning myself.
Okay. Anyone else? Any more questions? All right. Well, the motion's been put to the staff recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye. You can ask.
And again,
I'll go against.
against?
Yeah.
Would you like that recorded?
Yeah, okay. So that's carried. All right, so we're going to take a 5-minute recess. If you don't take any longer.
Which one you can put it on?
Joe, she voted.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that wee break. We are now looking at item 11, proposed time restrictions on Broad Park Road.
Oh, this one.
So we've got a mover and a seconder.
But so it's just what I mean.
Celeste has got a something.
Yes.
I'll see.
Okay, so we'll take it as read. We've got a mover and a seconder. So what do we do with what's the next one?
Sure, it didn't find it, it's much simpler than the last
Oh,
one.
it's actually, actually,
Okay.
Yes, that was it. There it is.
So do we have?
What's your question, Joe?
No, the thing was, do we accept this now?
We have-
asked for that or just?
yeah.
Yes,
Just a question.
sorry, briefly, what I'm asking for is to approve the, make it permanent, must this,
Okay,
staff recommendation.
but what about the request? Do I need to move that or we can just put that?
That's what she's moving it as well.
Moving it as one. Okay, so,
Joe, are you happy to second that?
Yeah.
all right, so it's seconded. Any questions, staff? Excellent. I'll put the motion. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Carol beats in
Well done.
Carry.
I was prepared to answer the
it.
No, it's carried. It's
Done.
Done.
All right.
All done. We've asked for it to be, oh, yes, so into the way you're doing.
That one. Given forest plan.
Sorry, interested. Confused about the extension prior to the summer peak, is that, can we have
Oh,
a
sorry.
chat about that, because there's a little bit of, so to look into investigating extending, we're gonna have to do a complete new consultation
Correct.
period. So I'll just pop that on. By the way, I'm Christine, I'm the chair. Yeah, hello. So in terms of extending the ban, I think there's just a couple of things that need to be taken into consideration. This is for all vehicles. This is not Freedom Campers. This is every single vehicle, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Putting in an extended ban is going to completely reshape how people can even access the park. There is a surf life saving club, just down there. So it's not as simple or as black and white as it may look. We're going to have to consult with New Zealand Motorhome Association as well. We're going to have to consult with, obviously we have to go through a whole kind of consultation period. What I just want to draw your attention to is, yes, the Freedom Campers has been seen as the issue here, but this affects everyone.
This is, we're asking you to investigate extending it. So, I mean, your investigation may be to investigate extending it, but not doing all of it. Right? That's your investigation to do.
Your report back will highlight
what you're saying now. Yes.
What is.
Sorry, I just want to get into the time frame. It says prior to the summer peak, but that's when we have the summer peak is when we have the Freedom Campers. So do we not want to make it after?
So sorry,
No,
just
we wanna-
clarify,
we wanna make it
you're asking us to
before.
come back with a report outlining some of the challenges around.
So basically, if it is possible, right, but what are the consequences of the time restrictions on the community, not just the Freedom?
The challenges and the positive.
And that would not include a consultation?
No.
No.
So then following that report back, the board may then direct you to go out and consult on options.
Okay.
Just to re-clarify, we've got quite a bit of information through the process already. Right at the beginning of the process, we did query whether we should just extend it to the whole street, which to be honest would have made sense, but we are where we are. So what we're looking to is just go out and reconcile. Timing of that, I'm open to doing.
We're looking, it says here, request staff to investigate extending the ban. So before we can go out to consult, we need to actually do an investigation as to what the challenges to extending that ban would be and what the positives would be. Then we would go out to consult if necessary, because they have to actually investigate it
So
first.
just noting from 2 or 3 reports prior to this one, we can't direct, or the board cannot direct staff to go out and consult without further information.
Yeah. So that would be the next step?
So staff will look into the pros and cons of extending the ban. And then they'll report back to the board to say like,
I see what you're
yeah,
saying.
And they just-
this option could work, this option couldn't work. This could work, we'll go out and consult on the option that could work.
And if we don't get it before the summer peak, then we don't get it before the summer peak.
Could we add the words possible?
If possible, we can put if possible into there.
Should be that.
The election period, you don't have meetings before the summer period.
Okay.
Could I clarify, Chris, you studying law, so reading it right now, are you just trying to understand what we've voted on? Are you saying that the investigation is to be completed prior to the summer peak or investigate doing it prior?
No, we're investigating. That's all we've asked for.
Yeah, no, I know, but when we're talking about prior to the summer peak?
Yeah, we've already asked for it. All we're asking for is the investigation. We're not asking
Right,
for
sorry.
it to be done.
So we're not
And if
investigating
possible.
if it can be done before the summer period,
No.
we're asking to
Yes.
investigate prior to the
To
summer
be,
period.
to be really clear.
So I don't think that was the intent.
Yeah, so, and as I just said as well, you're entering into the election period where there wouldn't be board meetings, which is why I've suggested if possible. So the way it reads now, just to make sure your intent is really clear, this is purely an investigation. A report might come back and say, we've investigated this. It's possible we now consult, so your report would recommend consultation. It might be that they investigate and go, we really shouldn't do this because it will have diverse outcomes. So the recommendation might be not to consult. But it's only what you've asked for in your words is just an investigation. It's not a direction. So it's very unlikely you're going to have anything in place for the summer period based on that, because you won't have a report by then.
So bearing in mind that the intent was to make sure that we could actually implement prior to the summer.
Well, we won't have and can't have.
Not this year.
There is no way that there is sufficient time to do that prior to summer. Because they have to come back with the they have to go away and do the investigation and come back with a recommendation to consult. Then we have to consult. There's no way it can be done before summer.
Meeting of this term, which is in a month's time. The work will not be carried out by then. And we already have about 15 reports sitting in the system. We don't have any meetings in October. And I can't guarantee if we will meet for a decision meeting in November. So we'll have to have our inaugural meetings in November, which leaves the beginning of December for a potential first board meeting that will make decisions.
And that meeting, we'll have a lot of things in there already. Alex?
Rosie's question, I'm not asking if it's a good idea or not, but say we wanted to, I guess Les wanted to put forward a notice of motion. Could we include delegation to set up a subcommittee or a committee as we have with other decisions from the past over
Nothing
Christmas?
can happen until the board are sworn in.
Yeah, so if they're sworn in.
We can't
Set up a meeting.
We can't do anything until we have a report, right? We can't, you might know you're here next term, Alex, but we don't.
Sorry, just through the, I just do a little bit concerned about that wording, because it does say investigate extending the ban. Maybe just, I don't know if it's possible just to tweak that to investigate the implications or the you know, because that sound within the positive, sound like we're actually investigating extending the ban.
That's fine.
Okay, so can you?
Yeah, I know.
The mover and the seconder need to be okay with what's been proposed, so request that staff investigate extending the ban and any implications for the car parks along Broad Park Road down to Lanark Street, is that what?
Or are you looking at a request to have to investigate extending the parking restrictions? Are you looking to remove the word ban?
Well, there is no ban, it's a parking restriction.
So investigate extending the parking restrictions to cover the parking.
Yep, that makes sense.
It still worries me that says we're investigating whether that's feasible or not.
That's it.
And we are.
Yes.
But it won't be for a decision You know what I mean? But I mean,
No, you're investigating it and then it comes back and then we'll.
And to report back any implication.
Yeah, and then when you come back with the report, then we'll decide whether it goes, this is the way it has to be done.
It's a motion, doesn't have to be done that way. Putting it out there.
You know better than these guys.
So, hold on, I'm just a little confused because the initial advice right at the beginning of this process then was we could get advice through this process to extend the parking restrictions. Effectively, we've got some good information. I don't think there's too many perverse impacts that would be 30 additional car parks. So we don't want to sort of treat this sort of outside the scope of what it is. Really, we're just reconsulting on some additional
That's right, that's what we're doing,
But
because we have to do it.
I voted, right, we all voted on a motion.
We voted on a motion
Yeah.
to accept what we have done so far.
No, we voted on
And
this.
this,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, so the wording right now, yeah, the implications part was gone now, so.
It's for the mover and the seconder to be happy with those words.
Well, if we voted on it.
Yeah, absolutely, but predominantly it's the mover and the seconder.
So are you happy with your words?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
we just take a couple of minutes because I feel like we did sort of, this was flagged in advance and I feel like we might be doing this a little bit on the fly. We just want to make sure it's achieving the intent.
Yeah, would you mind adjourning just for a couple of minutes?
Sorry, thanks.
We'll adjourn for
Through the
a
chat,
couple of
sorry.
minutes.
July.
Go back to the book protocol of that.
Words.
Okay, so you just need to put in your words, girls.
Extend.
So we've done a little bit of work on this.
Okay.
And we've, so the intention here, you'll be requesting staff to go and consult with the affected community and stakeholders, because it's more than just people that live on the road. I shouldn't be speaking for transport, so I apologise. On those car parks along Broad Park Road, and then report back to you prior to the end of the year. So, and that's an if possible, because I keep saying it, you're going into the
Angled parts? When you
apparently.
Oh, they're angled.
As opposed to.
So right angle.
Reporting.
Right angle. Okay.
Reporting back to the board prior to the end of the year. So you will have the outcome of that consultation, and hopefully you'll be able to make a decision. We put if possible, because there's work to be done within that, and to report back to you. And also you've got the election period as well, so staff will let you know if it's not possible.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that, Jo?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yes, great.
Everyone happy?
Everyone's happy?
Yep.
So what
Excellent.
we'll do with the mover and seconder's permission, we're going to replace what's in there rather than having to retake the vote. And we're all there.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, ladies.
It's easier for you, know.
I'll move 12.
Well, this is really nice. Toby.
Yeah.
We can come to the table for item 12, and we'll take the report as read. Does anybody have any questions for Toby?
That's a good one.
Chair.
Them just moved it.
Right, it's been moved and seconded, is it?
Alex
Right.
second.
Any questions? Any?
No. Pretty straightforward.
Okay, good.
I'm not going against Chrissy Williams.
All those in
Yeah.
favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Great job.
Thanks,
Thank
that's
you.
carried.
I'll move 13.
Okay, item number 13, urban forest planting plan for Wilson Park. We'll take that as read. Do I have a mover for that? Yeah, we'll go with Alex and Tim. Sorry, Tim's moved and seconder. Yanni's seconding. Any debate?
No.
Just one
question.
Yeah, one question. Just, I know residents are generally really supportive of this. It's just that ongoing issue of the ongoing maintenance. Is there anything you think the board needs to be aware of in terms of making a request to the organisation just to make sure that we're on top of the maintenance? Is it on?
That one.
Push the other button.
I put it out.
There we go. Pushing the wrong button. So as far as maintenance, I suppose there's two things here. There's the existing trees. We have a program for maintaining our trees. It's not necessarily as often as people like. There is a perception thing that people think trees should be maintained every year. A tree being maintained once every 8 years is actually quite normal. That's our longest that our trees go, and they're generally shorter depending on how much use the park gets. As far as the new trees go, they are on a far more regular maintenance period, because we know by maintaining them and establishing them well, we get better long-term benefits from them and less ongoing costs. So those get maintained regularly for the first 3 years, so they're watered and looked at for the first 3 years on a very regular basis. Then they get a form prune at year 5 and another prune at year 7, and then they go into our contract. So they get 7 years maintenance, which as far as I know is the longest anywhere establishment.
Just a quick follow-up. Are we able to work with the kids at the local schools to do the planting?
Please, yes. Yeah, we generally try to, logistics are difficult. The planting team do want to just get in there and get as much done as they can. We've got a limited planting window. It's something we're working on. This program's only in its second, like this is the first full planting season that we're doing. So they're still working out some things, working out how to get plans approved, trees and everything. But as time goes on, we're engaging more and more. We do have local community people come out when we're planting. They come up with the team, which is great. We'll be trying to advertise it more as we get the program established, but it is still, there are still logistics that we're trying to work through.
So we could just work through as elected members with you around that possibility for this month.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're always keen to do it. It's, like I say, it's just not always possible.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye, that's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 14.
I'd like to move it.
Did I not move it? So I thought we'd already moved and done that. Joe and Alex. All right. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Yeah, right. It's getting a bit late in the day, isn't it? All right, now we're moving on to.
Christopher.
Put the motion.
Put the motion. Did I not do that?
Yeah.
Did she? All right, well, I'm cracking up. It must
Yeah, I
be crack
did.
time.
I did put the motion. Yeah, I did.
apologise.
Yeah, all right then. Okay, item number 14. Number 14, North Beach Surf Life Saving Club. We just did.
15, you
We
already.
just did that
Yeah,
one.
we just did that.
Oh, you already done. Sorry, thanks. Sorry, I thought we would, you.
Oh, so simple.
13, and that was why I didn't know what was going on, right? Stay with me. Okay, that's done. Thanks, Felix. And Jason, thank you for being and going. Yeah, great. Okay,
Should zoom in.
seriously, number 15. Has anyone moved, second and carried that yet?
I'd like to move officer's report.
Is the
Area.
area report.
The officer's recommendation I'd like to move.
Thanks, Tam.
Okay, moved and seconded. I'm going to take that as read. Does anyone have any questions for staff? Yanni,
Sorry for the wait.
Yanni, question?
Thank you. So I was just wondering, in terms of, so management of funding approved $5 million for the improving Bromley Roads project, but what's the process from now as the board, like?
Yeah.
Is there gonna be a way in which we can come up with a plan and then consult with the community for the funding? Like how we can prioritize what goes ahead of that funding?
Do we not already have some of that already lined up? Like in the Bromley Roading project? I mean, we've had the Bromley Roading project there sitting with stuff ready to go for ages. Are we looking at, isn't that what we're going to be working with?
There's a table without any budget of priorities, but we haven't formally endorsed that, nor have we formally consulted with the community.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not something I can answer today. I know that there's some work that has already started with the transport team, and they've done some initial consultations as part of that transport plan, but beyond that, I can't give you any advice today. We can go back and talk with the transport team about what the plan is for that.
I think that would be really helpful. I think because, especially going into the new year, the end of the year, we know that the Bromley Community Centre will have a Christmas Day, they'll have different events. So it'd be nice to start working with just having a bit of a plan.
I don't think that we will be ready for the Bromley Christmas Fair with that. It's up to the new board, Yanni, not this board, right? When it comes back, it's the new board and they're not going to be ready to formulate that. We might be if we're here.
Yeah.
You're funny, Alex.
The other question is High Street, for example. So we've seen with Lion Street, that's really cool. That's regressing stuff and doing it. But High Street was another one that we got money on the budget. Are we able just to get some timing back around?
I guess I'd probably point you back just to your regular process. So if you can send through your emails through that process, then we can make sure that they don't get missed as part of the board meeting. So probably encourage you to use that one just so that we don't lose anything out there.
Okay, cool.
Okay, any more questions on the board report? All right. I've got a mover and a seconder. Yeah. Did you want? Yeah, all right. So I'll put. Right. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. That's carried. Thank you. Elected members' information.
Don't even try.
All right, you're allowed one thing each. Celeste.
So we talk about Burwood.
Money from.
No, the only one that I just want to quickly mention, some people here would have been, but it was the Village Green. They did 2 presentations last week. There were hundreds of people that came along and it was a fantastic presentation. Some of the people have been on that committee as volunteers for 5 years, so it's a long period of time. And the proposals for those that aren't familiar with, it's in the mall and it should be completed by Christmas. So it's just a pretty incredible project, completely community led. They can be paid for it. So I just want to kind of pay tribute to their work because it's just a testament to the fact that people give so much and they don't get any financial reward, and they're doing this entirely for community benefit. So I just want to kind of heed to all the work they've done, because it's massive and it'll be a game changer for them all. I think we're going to really appreciate having a green space and a performance hub there. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Brilliant, thank you. Anyone else?
Nothing.
Excellent, that will be the end of the meeting. We'd just like to stand for a karakia. Kia tau, kia rangamari e, o te rangi, o te iho nei, o Paranau, e taho nei, o te taho, pahi nei, kia ranga e a tātou, tihei, Māori ora. Thank you, everyone, for being well behaved.
Let's never speak